A billionaire named Prince Uche was getting older and started to think about what would happen after he died. He worried about his legacy and wondered who would take care of the wealth he had worked so hard to build. He wanted to know if his family would use his money wisely and grow his businesses, or if they would just spend it all carelessly. Prince Uche had a big family with 2 wives and 6 children. He wasn't sure if they would use his money wisely or just waste it. Also, the billionaire came up with a clever plan. He decided to fake his own death in a plane crash. This way he could secretly watch how his family would handle his money and businesses without him. This plan would let Prince Uche test his family and see who was truly worthy of inheriting his fortune. He hoped to discover which of his children, if any, had the skills and wisdom to carry on his legacy and keep his businesses successful. He wanted to see if they would respect his hard work and continue to grow his wealth, or if they would waste everything he had spent his life building. It was on a cool afternoon. Billionaire Prince Uche sat in his study, his forehead creased with worry lines. At 80 years old, he had built an empire worth billions of dollars, but now he faced a dilemma that money couldn't solve. He rubbed his temples thinking about his family's constant bickering over his wealth. They fight like cats and dogs. He muttered to himself, how can I trust them with my legacy? His mind wandered to the countless arguments he'd witnessed between his 2 wives and their children. His first wife, Adais, always insisted her children should inherit the lion's share of his wealth. Because I am the first wife and my children come first, I am the first wife, she would shout. My children should come first in everything, including money. But his second wife, Kaioma, argued just as fiercely. My children are older, we had them first because ODI couldn't conceive. For 10 years they deserve priority. Prince Uche shook his head, remembering how ADI and Kaioma had once been best friends before he married them. Now they could barely be in the same room without tension filling the air. He thought about his children, how they spent money as if it grew on trees. Just last week his eldest son had bought a fleet of luxury cars on a whim. Father, we need to maintain our status, his son had said with a shrug when Prince Uche questioned the purchase. His daughters were no better, constantly shopping for designer clothes and throwing lavish parties. It pained him to see how easily they squandered what had taken him years to build. These memories made billionaire Prince Uche's heart heavy. Prince Uche's mind drifted to a recent family dinner he had watched in dismay as his children argued over who would get which company. After his passing, Adana, his second child with Kaioma, his second wife, had declared, I should get the tech companies. I understand that industry best Chuka. Odi's second son counted, no way, those are the most valuable, they should go to the first wife's children. The bickering had continued, growing louder and more heated until Prince Uche couldn't take it anymore. He had slammed his hand on the table, silencing everyone. Enough. Billionaire Prince Uche roared, is this all I mean to you, a fortune to be divided? The room had fallen silent, but Prince Uche knew the peace wouldn't last. As soon as he was gone, the fighting would start again, fiercer than ever. Now, sitting alone in his study, Prince Uche felt the weight of his years. He had worked tirelessly to build his wealth, starting with nothing and growing it into a vast fortune. The thought of his family squandering it all made his chest tighten with anxiety. There must be a way, he murmured, rubbing his temples. A way to ensure my legacy is protected. He thought about his youngest child, Kai. Unlike his siblings, Chi seemed to have a good head on his shoulders, but he was young and Prince Uche wasn't sure if he could stand up to his older siblings and their Mothers as the sun began to set outside his window, Prince Uche made a decision. He couldn't leave his wealth to chance. He needed to know beyond a shadow of a doubt who would manage his fortune. Responsibly, I need to see for myself, he said aloud. I need to know what they'll do when they think I'm gone. With that thought, a plan began to form in his mind. It wouldn't be easy to carry out, but he had to try for the sake of his legacy. For the empire he had built from nothing. He had to know the truth about his family. In the evening, Prince Uche sat on his sprawling balcony overlooking the lush gardens of his estate. The sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, but he barely noticed the beautiful view. His mind was consumed with worry, his brow furrowed in deep thought. If I die now, he must said to himself, who will manage my legacy? He shook his head, remembering the constant fights between his children over even the smallest things, money and possessions. They can't even agree on who gets to use the pool first, let alone manage billions. He stood up and started pacing, his mind racing. He needed to know how they would handle his wealth if he wasn't around to keep them in check. But how suddenly an idea struck him. It was outrageous, perhaps even a bit cruel, but it might be the only way to truly see their true colors. What if I fake my own death? He said aloud, stopping in his tracks. The more he thought about it, the more it seemed like the perfect solution. He could observe how they would behave when they thought he was gone. Would they honor my wishes, or would they tear each other apart over my money? He wondered. Prince Uche knew he couldn't pull this off alone. He needed help from someone he could trust, someone who understood the legal implications of such a scheme. My lawyer, he said, snapping his fingers. Mr. Okofor will know how to make this work. He glanced at the clock. It was late, but this couldn't wait. He picked up his phone and dialed Mr. Okofor's number. After a few rings, a groggy voice answered. Hello, Mr. Okofor, it's Prince Uche. I apologize for the late hour, but I need to see you immediately. It's urgent. Is everything all right, sir? Mr. Okofor asked, sounding concerned. Yes and no, Prince Uche replied. I need your help with something important. Can you come to my office first thing in the morning? Of course, sir. I'll be there at 8 a.m. Thank you, Prince Uche said, ending the call. He spent the rest of the night pacing, his mind filled with plans and possibilities. By the time dawn broke, he was more convinced than ever that this was the right course of action. So he quickly moved to his office to catch up with his lawyer. It's the only way to know for sure, he told himself as he waited for his lawyer to arrive. The only way to protect my legacy. 40 minutes late, his lawyer arrived. Prince Uche and his lawyer, Mr. Okofor, sat in the billionaire's lavish office. The room was quiet, with only the soft ticking of an antique clock breaking the silence. Prince Uche leaned forward in his leather chair, his eyes intense, as he explained his plan. Mr. Okofor, I need to know how my family will manage my wealth when I'm gone. I can't trust their behavior when I'm around. Prince Uche said, his voice filled with concern. Mr. Okofor listened attentively, his brow furrowed. After a moment of contemplation, he spoke. I understand your concern, sir, but faking your death is a serious matter. Have you considered the emotional impact on your family? Prince Uche sighed heavily. I have, but the stakes are too high. My legacy is at risk. The lawyer nodded slowly, then suggested, if we're to do this, we need a believable scenario, perhaps a plane crash. You could be traveling to the USA for business. Prince's eyes lit up. Yes, that could work. They wouldn't be waiting for a body to bury. Mr. Oka continued, we should also protect your assets. Your current liquid wealth is around $64 billion, correct? Prince Uche nodded. I suggest opening a new secret bank account and transferring half of your wealth there. This way you'll still have control over a significant portion of your money. Excellent idea, Prince Uche agreed, his voice filled with approval. Additionally, Mr. Okofor added we should create fake certificates for your company properties. This will prevent your family from selling the companies outright. Prince Uche stood up and began pacing, his excitement growing. Yes, this is good. Let's do it. For the next hour they meticulously drafted wills for each of Prince Uche's children, ensuring that the distribution seemed fair but wouldn't give them complete control over the businesses as they worked. Prince Uche's mind wandered to his family. He thought of his oldest son, always eager to show off his wealth. He'd probably sell the companies just to buy more sports cars, he muttered. Mr. Okofor looked up from the papers. Sir, Prince Uche waved his hand dismissively, just thinking aloud. Continue, please. They walked through the afternoon, carefully planning every detail as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the office. Mr. Okofor brought up another crucial point. Sir, if we're to truly observe how your family behaves, we'll need to monitor them closely, he said. Prince Uche raised an eyebrow. What do you suggest? Hidden cameras and audio recording devices throughout the house, Mr. Okofor replied. But we'll need a reason to get your family out of the house to install them. Prince Uche thought for a moment, then snapped his fingers. I've got it. Will tell them we need to fumigate the compound. That should keep them away long enough. Mr. Okofor nodded approvingly. That could work. We'll need to hire a discreet security company to install the equipment. I know just the people. Prince Uche said. They've done work for me before. Very professional, very discreet. They spent the next hour working out the final details of their plan. As night fell, Prince Uche stood by the window looking out over the city lights. Do you think this will work? He asked softly, a hint of uncertainty in his voice. Mr. Okofor joined him at the window. It's a risky plan, sir, but if it's what you feel you need to do, we'll make it work. Prince Uche nodded, his jaw set with determination. It is I need to know the truth. Very well, Mr. Okofor said. Start making the necessary arrangements. Tomorrow we'll need to move quickly to make this believable. Thank you, Mr. Okofor. For Prince Uche said, turning to face his lawyer. I know this is an unusual request, but I trust you to help me see it through. Mr. Okofor nodded solemnly. Of course, sir, that's what I'm here for. As Mr. Okofor gathered his things to leave, Prince Uche called out, one more thing. The lawyer paused at the door. When you draft the document about the fumigation, make it sound urgent. Say we found, I don't know, a snake or something that should get them out quickly. Mr. Okofor couldn't help but smile. A snake it is. Sir, I have the document ready for you to present to your family tomorrow. After the lawyer left, Prince Uche sat back down at his desk. He picked up a framed photo of his family, his wives, his children, all smiling for the camera. His heart felt heavy as he looked at their faces. I'm sorry to deceive you, he whispered to the photo, but I need to know. I need to be sure. He set the photo down and turned to his computer. There was work to be done, bank accounts to open, documents to prepare. The plan was in motion and there was no turning back now. As he walked into the night, Prince Uche felt a mix of emotions: anxiety about the deception, determination to protect his legacy, and a glimmer of hope that perhaps his family would surprise him. Only time would tell. Very early in the morning, when Prince Uche had got up from his bed, his mind raced with the plan he and Mr. Okofor had crafted yesterday. As he entered the living room, he found his family lounging about. He cleared his throat to get their attention. Everyone, I have some urgent news, he announced. His wives and children looked up, curiosity on their faces. What is it, darling? At his First wife asked Prince Uche put on a concerned expression. One of the mates saw a snake in the compound today for our safety. We need to fumigate the entire house gasped and worried. Mamas filled the room. Choma, his second wife, clutched her chest. A snake, oh my goodness. Don't worry, Prince Uche reassured them, but we'll need to leave the house for a day or two. I've arranged for you all to stay at the luxury hotel downtown. Oba, his eldest son, frowned. We really have to leave that, can't they just fumigate around us? Prince Uche shook his head firmly. No, son, the chemicals are dangerous. We can't take any risks. Adana, his daughter, jumped up excitedly. We a hotel stay. I can't wait to use their spa. Prince Uche watched as his family scrambled to pack their things. Their earlier fear quickly replaced by excitement about the impromptu vacation. Within an hour they were all headed out the door. Have a good time, Prince Uche called after them. I'll join you later. I need to supervise the fumigation team. As soon as the last car pulled out of the driveway, Prince Uche sprang into action. He pulled out his phone and made a call. They're gone. You can come now, he said to the person on the other end. Within minutes a van pulled up to the house. Two men in plain clothes got out carrying large cases of equipment. Good afternoon, sir, one of them said. Where would you like us to start? Prince Uche led them through the house, pointing out key areas. I want cameras in every room, especially the living room and my office, and make sure the audio recorders are sensitive enough to pick up whispers. The men nodded and got to work. Prince Uche watched as they skillfully installed tiny cameras in unnoticeable spots behind picture frames, inside air vents, and even disguised as decorative items. As they worked, Prince Uche felt a mix of emotions. Part of him felt guilty for spying on his family, but another part felt justified. I need to know the truth, he muttered to himself. Hours passed as the technicians worked diligently. They installed cameras in bedrooms, bathrooms, the kitchen, and even the garage. Audio recorders were hidden in strategic locations throughout the house. As evening approached, the lead technician approached Prince Uche. We're all done, sir. Would you like to see how it works? Prince Uche nodded, and the man pulled out a tablet. On the screen, Prince Uche could see crystal clear images from every room in the house. With a few taps he could switch between video feeds and even playback recorded audio. Everything is working perfectly, the technician said. You'll be able to monitor all activity from your secure location. Prince Uche thanked the men and saw them out. As he stood alone in his now bugged house, he took a deep breath. It's done, he said to the empty room. Now we wait a week. After installing the surveillance equipment, Prince Uche sat in his office reviewing the final details of his plan with Mr. O for his everything, said Prince Uche, asked, his voice tinged with nervousness. Mr. Okafor nodded. Yes, sir. The new bank account is open and ready. We can proceed with the transfer whenever you're ready, Prince